I spray painted them black with matte black. You can say, well, you did a quite crappy job, which is the case, but it doesn't really matter because it's gonna be fabric all over. The black is only there so you won't see the wood through the fabric. Hence the choice matte black. Also the white from the HPL is black now, so you won't see it anymore. Backside as well, except for all the metal. I'm not gonna paint it because I think half of the paint will end up in the panel, which is not a good idea. I used an old Atacama Nexus stand, and there is a neodymium magnet here inside the plastic to hold the panel so I can paint it. Then I bought me some wooden trims finally that fit. After 2 weeks of calling and such, the half round wooden stock is listed everywhere as 37mm, but it actually is 34 for over a few years now. But they kind of everywhere on the internet they don't think it's really necessary to update their catalog, so it's impossible to get it, or at least by the looks of it. So I bought me some hardwood trim, which is rounded off on one side and is exactly 37mm. Only thing is, it's quite expensive, and it doesn't even look. I mean, it is hardwood, but it's not. I think it's Maranti or something. It's not the most pleasing wood, and it's really expensive. So it cost me almost 40 euros or something just for 4 of these stupid trims. They're gonna sit like this. And I do think it's gonna be nice, but could be nicer. Here I did a small test with oil, cooked oil. It does bring out the wood a little bit better, but still the color of the wood itself is not amazing. So it gets a bit nicer when you oil it, but it's not like Sobrano or something. I wish I had trims like this from Sobrano. That would be really nice. I love that wood. Too expensive for me, although this wasn't cheap either. So expensive and meh, kinda lame. But also it comes in lengths of 2.70 m, and I only need 140. So I am not able to use one length for 2 sides. I had to buy 4 and throw almost half of it away. Well, of course I keep it. Maybe I'll make some small panels, but yeah, it's kind of expensive. But I really had to do something because otherwise it will be standing there forever. Apparently you got this also in what is pure pine or something? Yeah, I think it's pine. So the cheap softwood, but at least it looks rather nice. I think I like the light wood and black cloth. I like dark woods as well, but nothing in between. This is kind of in between. It's just not really dark and it's not light either. So too bad, but hey, that's it. I also did some sewing. I did some sewing. It's my mother's old machine. She passed away, but I still have this one, and I'm glad I have. I did need to. It was kind of a long time ago that I wired a sewing machine. So the top side is quite easy, but I had no clue how this worked because there's the spool for the bottom thread, But this one doesn't have a housing for the spool housing. So I watch some YouTube stuff, of course. If you want to learn something, it's the best way, fast. But they all had a spool housing that you can take out and you put the spool in and you had to put the wire somewhere. But in the end, actually this one is even easier. It just, you throw it in, leave the wire somewhere hanging around, and just do one thread, and it pulls it up. No fancy stuff. It just does what you would hope it will do. So in the end, it wasn't that hard. Although I had to remove all kinds of wires from this spool housing thing, because I think I kind of fucked up last time I used it. So there was wire stuck in between all the moving parts and such, so I had to clean it up. Might need to oil it at all these red dots, because it hasn't been oiled in like 10 years, I guess, maybe 15 years, I don't know. It's an old machine, but it still works, and it's really impressive, I think, how mechanically how this is made, and the fact that it still works. Well, I don't have any equipment that is built so rugged like a tank and still works like after 40 years or something. I don't know. Here, this is my mother always kept everything together and such. So here's even the note from the seller, and the commercial advertisement. Real cheesy, but it's really cool. You can see it's from the 70s, I guess. So that's quite old. Let me see if I can find this is the part where it explains that it works differently than others. I should have maybe looked it up. I didn't. Oh, cool. You can use the casing as a bench. I didn't know. I got the casing. Well, you're not thinking, well, maybe I can use the case and slide it in there. Okay. Elna Special. So this one, Elna Special, 675 guilders. So that's 330 euros, kind of. Amazing. And free lesson at home. Cool. Too bad I can't find a date, but if you look at the picture, it's quite clear it's 70s. Or maybe even late 60s, but I think 70s, early 70s. Yeah. Look at this advertisement. It's rather cool, I think. Nostalgic stuff. Okay, so this thing is to be used to get the spool out. I didn't know. There's this weird thing here, and I thought, what is this? So actually you can remove the spool with it. I was fiddling around to get it out. I still get it out, but I thought there must be a better way. Apparently there is. So cool, very nice. So I did some sewing with zigzag, or whatever it's called, a stitch that goes like this, because I sewing stretch fabric. And in this zigzag pattern, it's able to stretch in this direction still. Not that I need it that much, but it's a good thing to do if you work with stretch. Otherwise it only will stretch on one side, and on the seam it doesn't stretch along. So yeah, nice dirty old machine. Might need a clean, but it still works. And it was quite nice to work with it again after 20 years or something, because as a child I did some sewing with my mother. on this exact same machine, so that's cool. Yeah, so I made 2 socks, or 1 sock, and well, it's not perfect because it's quite hard to sew stretch material, and I'm of course no well, not even an amateur, so it's well, I might ask someone else to do it, or I'm gonna order new fabric that I don't need to stitch on the top side. Like here, this material is not long enough to put it over like this. It has to be like 3 meters long, and this material is only 150, so I have to make a stitch somewhere here and then move the stitch behind the wood so you won't see it. But this, if you do have to be really good in sewing to not make it completely look shit. So I might order the longer material, then I don't have to stitch it, and then I'll just staple it on the sides at the hardwood things, and it's done. But then again, this fabric is again 60 euros. It's pretty expensive. I really have no clue why. I hope it's better fabric than I have now, because otherwise it will be kind of a waste. But yeah, so order fabric and cut the wood on the appropriate length. Cut holes to mount it, pre-drill it, and countersink, and get black screws as well, because I don't like the silver ones visible. Focus. You can see there's a slot, which is nice because this is where the fabric is stapled on the wood, so it has some space for the staples to sit, and it comes like this, so that's nice.